speak, and she's doing 6 minutes because of the other ones. And I'll let Gabe know.
Okay.
There's
another one just came in. We may not get to.
Are you ready? Thank you. Meeting is called to order. First speaker is Pat Vint.
Good morning, 3 council people. Isn't this wonderful? Thank you, Thelda, for coming by and hearing what we have to say. You know, a week or so ago, they put out this guideline for speaking at council meetings. They made 2 major mistakes. The first said we got to say only new comments. Problem is, you've never fixed anything, so I'm never going to give up. The other thing at the bottom, a council member may respond to criticism, so I'm criticizing every one of you, and I want a response back. That's no more than right. The citizens of Phoenix, they call us public now on top of the chain of command, and then it goes down to Greg Stanton there, and he don't care either. And then it goes to Ed Zerker. You can't even talk to him. He's trying to match up with Frank Fairbanks and David Cavazos. They worked up by being a city manager that Ed's doing right now. He's working it up to where the last day he'll spike his pension too, and probably get $300,000 or $400,000 a year by the time he works his way up in wages. But this is a disaster. So I'm asking for a comment or response back. I'm criticizing all of you. And the other terrible thing, the newspaper came out with a wonderful deal here. ASU foolish and $500,000 feet. You know, why would anybody give Bill and Hillary Clinton any damn thing? They're the biggest crooks that ever walked the face of the earth. And when I think back that I paid most of the 2 of my 3 daughters through universities, and both of them had some time at ASU, some time at NAU, some time at Arizona down in Tucson. And to think that this idiot, and that's what he is, a true idiot, that give away $500,000 to the Clinton idiots. And that's a nice word. That's pleasant compared to what I call them when I'm around where everybody in the world doesn't have to hear it, because this is supposed to be part of the city council. We should be item, not just the citizens' request to get up here and tell you what you want us to tell you, that you're all great, you're all wonderful, you're elected, so that makes you gods. You're not gods. You work for the people that pay you. That's who you work for, and you better start considering that. Now, on the news last night, there was a lot of stuff about attorneys. And what they do, they can't call them lawyers anymore because there's very few of them. Attorneys got their name because they will turn on you. And they do. It's terrible.
Thank you very much, Pat. Next speaker on the public comment period is Leonard Clark. Leonard, do you have comments?
Hello, thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Leonard Clark. I wanted to thank the Mayor and Council. And yes, I know you're not gods. My own belief is there's only one, but there's others with different views, but you're human beings. I understand you're not perfect. The only perfect person I know is, I don't know, because they're 6 feet under and there's lilies growing above them. But getting back on the subject, I wanted to thank you because Sunny Slope Center Services, Community Services, I inquired about my friend who's in a wheelchair, hearing impaired, and the, I think, low-income energy program for people that are very low income to get help is in an assisted living facility. The folks from the Sunny Slope Community Center came down and helped those folks. Also, I want to thank the mayor. I'm not sure if any other members came out but the mayor who came out against the ugly protests in front of a Phoenix mosque last week, I wanted to thank the mayor for his courageous stand, because as politicians, I know it's hard, but showing that the city of Phoenix leads the nation in its respect for the freedom of religion and freedom of speech. The officers are out there in the middle. They did a good job, pretty much. And I just am once again heartened to know that the city of Phoenix still represents a city of love and humanity, and hopefully Arizona's other cities will take notice. But I do thank the mayor, because yes, I'm a critic of all of you, but I'm also one of your best supporters. I just really I'm really thankful of the fact I can speak up here, because there are people that never got to come back to our country, who fought for our country, just so that I and my other friends can speak. So, and one final thing, a note of concern. I did notice, thanks to the Arizona Republic mentioning about the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, I feel that it is germane to bring this up, because they held a vote whereby they went into executive session, then came back into their full session and laughed at the reporters after they came out and wouldn't tell the public what they were voting on. And I think it was shameful and disgraceful for them to do that. And it was a violation of Arizona's open meeting law. I'm glad that you don't do that. I understand we need executive sessions, but when you come back into full session, you can't just take a vote and say, well, we can't tell you what we voted on, even though we did find out later. So I'm glad that you don't do that either. So thank you. Yes, we have disagreements, but I'm glad that I live in the city of Phoenix. It's a beautiful city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. Next speaker will be Michelle Lombino. And Michelle, good to see you. My understanding is that you're speaking on behalf of at least 4 other citizens who have granted you their time.
Yes, I am.
And you want a longer period of time. I think Terry Nelson, Tiffany Tibby, I hope I pronounced that correctly, I apologize, and Michelle West, and you're requesting up to 6 minutes. It's yours. Go.
Thank you. My name is Michelle Lombino. I live at East Desert Cove Ave in the beautiful village of Paradise Valley, and I do have a handout for all of you.
Thank you.
And I share with you a desire to make the city of Phoenix a really great place to live, work, and play. And I know that my own councilman, Bill Gates, shares that vision. My neighbors and I applaud Mr. Gates for all of his efforts on behalf of our neighborhood, and in particular the 32nd Street corridor. We really appreciate that he's putting our area on a road diet, and he's really promoting and revitalizing our area. Phoenix's villages each have their own unique sense of place. And part of the revitalization plan for 32nd Street is to emphasize its unique sense of place. We believe that the sense of place of 32nd Street, North 32nd Street in Shea, is entirely attributable to the Phoenix Mountains Preserve. That is our best and highest feature. That gives us a sense of place. Our neighborhoods are stable and well-established. And I want to alert you to something that my neighbors and I consider will be a threat to our neighborhoods, and most particularly to that sense of place. It is a rezoning case that will be working its way to all of you here on City Council shortly. And in this zoning case, the land speculator proposes to erect a 5-story apartment building in the midst of single-story neighborhood, single-family neighborhood. This apartment building would be higher than anything on our street. It would even be higher than the buildings in the Paradise Valley Village core. This apartment building would also be in the middle of the block, so it would effectively cut my neighbors and me off. It would have cut all of us who live north of Shea off from not only the Phoenix Mountains Preserve, but from the rest of our community. Now, I won't take up all of your time today. I know you have a huge agenda, but I would ask you to please look at the materials that I've delivered to you today. You will see in there that over 292 of my neighbors, those who live closest to this site, are opposed to this PUD. and a number of them have come down today. And we have a map in there that shows you where these people reside. You will see that these are the people who live closest to this site and have the most interest in preserving the site. And keep in mind, please, our neighborhood is not a blighted and distressed neighborhood. All of the studies I have cited for you, that is the Urban Land Institute, Arizona program, and the ASU Urban Planning Program, they all say one of the best and highest features of our neighborhood is that we have stable neighborhoods. People have lived in our neighborhoods for over 20 years. I myself have lived there about 20 years. We love our neighborhood. We want to preserve it. I know my councilman loves the neighborhood as well, and we just believe very strongly that the sense of place in our neighborhood lies in the Phoenix Mountains Preserves. Now, we're not against apartments in general, or high-rises for that matter, but they don't belong in this particular neighborhood. Each one of the villages, each section of the city has its own unique sense of place, and ours really, really depends on preserving and protecting the Phoenix Mountains Preserves. Thank you all so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lombino. Ms. Nancy Miller, did you wish to speak on the same issue? Please come forward, yep. And then that will likely be the last speaker. So Ms. Tredick, I apologize, but we'll still have additional comments if you want to stay till the end of the meeting. But we'll start our regular formal meeting at 3 o'clock under the City Council rules, and then we'll have additional time afterwards. Ms. Miller.
Thank you, Mayor and councilpersons. I appreciate the time, and I would also like to speak on this PUD 12614 that would be a 5-story apartment house. And again, we so appreciate Councilman Gates' assistance in revitalizing our neighborhood, but we feel that we're not going to be heard correctly. The speculator, the person who wants to get this rezoning, is not going to develop the property. He'll flip it and sell it to someone else. But his attorney has asked for a continuance, which would put us on your budget agenda July the 1st. And our attorney is actually out of the country then. And so we would really appreciate some additional time that our attorney can study this and that we can be heard before the council when you have time. I think being heard during a budget meeting is not going to be beneficial for anybody. But thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Because you took such a short period of time, Ms. Tredick, if you can get it in a minute or two, we'll get you in. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you very much. I would like to just second this last person's comments about requesting that we have our zoning discussion on the next meeting, not on the one where you have your budget, because everybody will be so pressed for time, and it won't allow us to present our side of it sufficiently. And also, I would like to be able to have my counsel be able to make his presentation. I've hired somebody to represent myself and my mother, and I feel that would be at a disadvantage being in a budget meeting. So I would really appreciate it if you could reschedule that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So now that's all the cards I have for citizens' requests in advance of the formal meeting of the City Council. And we're a little after 3 o'clock, so we're going to roll right into the